Recording in progress.
Well,
Hi,
hi.
hi, hi. Yeah, cram it right in that cake hole, girl. Get it.
Stop.
Uh, uh. Welcome, everybody, to the Who Knows What the Name Is podcast show.
Stop.
Well, no, I got yelled at last time.
You didn't get yelled at.
Well, I got yelled at.
So, anyways, Life Unfiltered show, most likely moving to off the cuff. In reality, it doesn't really matter because what matters is we are here talking, conversing, doing our thing. Who gives a shit what the name is, right? Right.
I mean, there's a little bit of that, but let's be honest. Deep down inside, you give a shit what the name is.
I do. Two
Right.
things. One, why does it look like you got your hair cut because you didn't get your hair cut? Is it just because you haven't like done something to it the last few days?
I just stay fresh, yo.
Nobody talks about the art of eating on camera and talking at the same time.
Probably because nobody needs to talk about that.
I'm just saying it's not simple. Do you like my little friend I brought to the party?
I prefer you don't point things like that out because I prefer to stay attracted to you.
Oh my gosh, that's so rude. That's so rude. Take it back.
No takesies backsies.
Anyways, we decided to do this over lunch today. I decided to do this over lunch today because I just wanted to be in flow with some other things I needed to take care of this morning. So here we are, lunch with the Deweeses.
Well, that's an important point, right? Because
What?
so one of the things that we talk to our clients about is the need to prioritize things,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if you don't prioritize the things that you say are important to you, then life gets in the way, right? Because you got
Right.
kids, you got jobs, you got whatever's that
Yourself.
will, yeah, invariably place obstacles in your way to accomplish anything that you want to get done. That being said, that doesn't mean you have to be like 1,000% rigid and like, oh no, this is my priority. It has to get done ahead of everything else, right? You can apply some flexibility sometimes. Now, the caveat there is oftentimes when you're starting out, it's
Mm-mm.
better to have that hard ass rigidity, right? Because when you're just starting something out, if you give yourself a lot of flexibility, that can be a recipe for disaster.
In my opinion, you have to earn that flexibility. You have to earn the right to be more flexible with your schedule or the process
I can get on
because
board with that.
early on, if you could consistently do the thing that you needed to do, then you wouldn't be in the predicament that you're in. So to step into it and still have the flexibility, like it just doesn't work that way. To me, it's kind of like, hey, I want to hang with the I want to go straight to the varsity squad, but yet I am a freshman level player. But I want you to go ahead and put me on the varsity squad so I
Right.
can get the perks and benefits of the varsity squad, even though I still need to work on my skills so I actually can play on the varsity squad. Like that ain't how it works. And unfortunately, I think a lot of times in our world today, that is what people expect the experience to be for them is to get the benefits of the position they want to be in before they've actually earned those benefits, right?
Right.
And again, like it just doesn't work that way. So you earn the right to have a little bit of flexibility. It's kind of like one of our mentors says like model before you modify in the idea that if there's something that you're not doing, whether it's a habit or there's certain results that you want, and you know someone who already has that habit, you know someone who already has the results that you want, then you need to do what they have done to create that habit, to create those results as they've done it without changing shit up. And he
Right.
never says, like, you haven't earned the right, but like, I will say it. You just haven't earned the right to do it yet. And you got to earn it in my book.
Well, I think that's probably an accurate book in this moment. Um, and really that applies to a lot of different areas in life, right? Like I think if you approached a lot of things in your life that you have to earn X, that it's not just a right, then I think you would see far greater results in everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the fear in that, or the lack of desire to do that, is that that means that you have to make sacrifices, right? There's things that you're going to not be able to do that you want to do. And you're going to have to embrace the fact that for a period of time, not necessarily forever, but for a period of time, I'm going to have to give up some things. I'm going to have to give up some flexibility. It's like, in order to gain freedom, you actually have to give up some of the freedom that you currently have in favor of a better form of freedom. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Oh yeah.
One of the things is we talk about, like, in our world of fitness and nutrition and just overall personal growth, one of the things I talk to my female clients about is the idea, many of them come in with fears of restriction, right? They have had experiences before where they're following nutrition plans, for example, where they feel restricted.
Right.
And that term restriction, like, nobody likes that term restriction, like, just the term in and of itself. It's like the person that when you see their face, like, you just want to punch them in the face. And it's not like they've done anything to you. It's not like you know them. It's just there's something about them that like
Just very
rubs you the wrong
punchable.
way, right?
I get it.
And so that word restriction has been used so much in a negative way that now that's just like, anytime there are guidelines around nutrition, I believe that term restriction is thrown around, and women just automatically mean, oh, that's going to keep me from doing something that I love or enjoy.
Right.
And what I talk about with them is that it's not restriction. It's helping you set boundaries for yourself, helping you set some guidelines, some structure for yourself to keep you in the lane that you need to be in for a period of time to get the kind of results that you want. And while you might look at that in the moment, especially when it's new to you, as not having a lot of flexibility, the reality is what people can't see is the things that they're already sacrificing and giving up because they don't have any structure or guidelines or better habits, right? Like,
Right.
we look at they look at the guidelines to create healthy habits and to create like physical uh to hit physical goals, for example. And they're like, oh my gosh, but that's going to take away my freedom to choose this or to choose that or to choose that. And I understand that frame. But at the same time, what they're not looking at is what freedoms have been taken away from you when you're choosing to put shitty food in your body, when you're choosing to not actively move your body on the regular. Like, no one seems to like turn their attention to how are my choices already creating restriction or a lack of freedom in my life. And so my goal is to help women understand that, and then help them to see that placing some healthy boundaries and healthy systems in place, it will help them create the real kind of freedom that they're actually seeking.
Right. Well, and I think it's so I started having this thought when you were talking about the time aspect of it, right? Because I think one of the things that really gets people is oftentimes that time is unknown.
Like how long? Is that what you mean?
Right. Like how long I have to go before I earn
Mm-hmm.
that privilege of whatever, right?
Sure.
And that led me to thinking that there's a dichotomy when we come to thinking about time, right? Because when it's something that we don't want to do, that time seems forever.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's something that we like or want to do, that time seems short. Like
And we, yeah, we,
it could be 2 hours for both, right? In like objective, literal time. But if it's something I don't want to do, that 2 hours is like, oh. If
right.
it's something I really want to do, that 2 hours is like blink of an
Right.
eye.
Like if we're on vacation in a
Right.
tropical location and we're going to the beach or we're going to the pool, there's not one part of me that's like, oh my gosh, how long are we going to be here? Like if I'm asking that question, it's only because I want to ensure that we're there for as long as possible, right?
Right.
But if you're asking me to like read a Star Wars book or look at some sort of Star Wars documentary, I'm going to be like,
You better slow the
how
hell down, lady.
how long do we have to do this?
I mean, forever, hopefully.
But it's also like, you know, this is where, when they say like it's the start that stops most people, this is the kind of thing
Right.
because these thoughts or these questions at time, not maybe in this exact way or format, but it's this kind of shit that when I'm conversing with potential clients uh in the DMs or on a Zoom call, like these are the kinds of things that are going on in women's heads that keep them from pulling the trigger
Right.
on taking action on something that could actually benefit them. And it's like, here's the thing. You're getting so concerned about what's going to happen once I get into this, and am I going to like it, and is it going to feel comfortable, and how much am I going to have to change, and all of this stuff, that firstly you're forgetting the problem that you have, that you even like you're even talking to me in the first place. Like, so you're like quickly forgetting that the reason you're even talking to me in the first place is because you don't feel comfortable in your own skin. You don't like the fact that you're 30 pounds overweight, right? So like that sometimes like goes out the window as the conversation shifts from, hey, I have a problem that I need your help with. And as the conversation shifts into, okay, well, here's the path that we're going to need to go down in order to solve that problem for you. Then it's like their brain forgets the pain that they're in and they start focusing on what pain is this process going to bring to me, not
Mm,
recognizing that that pain is actually going to be less than the pain that they're already experiencing. um, and then the second part of that is some of the things that then they get caught up in their head about. It's like if you would just get into the process, you would realize that it's not actually as bad or restrictive as you think it's going to be. And that's like anything in life, right? Like typically, not always, but typically, the things that we demonize in our brain do it's never as bad as what our brain has made it out to be. And as we talk
right.
time and time again, it's the nature of the beast of our brain. Our lizard brain is trying to protect us. Our brain thinks we're still living back in the caveman days where there's like literally like some sort of saber-toothed tiger out to kill us. And that's not the way that it is, but that's the way that it still functions. And so we have to be able to go, okay, like I know that I'm creating this story in my head, but a lot of this story is simply, I'm trying to protect myself. I'm trying to keep myself from getting hurt or getting into a place of danger. And the reality is, I'm not in danger. I'm actually trying to move my life forward. And there's so many things here. On my client call last night, we were talking about how our brain often makes us make things permanent that are truly only temporary. And
Right.
so another thing that's going on in the brain of potential clients for me is they're thinking that whatever it is I'm going to lay out for them that they're going to need to do to solve their problem is like going to be a forever thing. And in full transparency, like there are some things that you ultimately recognize in the process. Hey, this does need to be a forever thing.
Right.
But a high percentage of things, it's not actually a forever thing. Like it's just temporarily we've got to focus here and we've got to stop entertaining this, that, and the other so that you can get your feet under you, so that you can create some momentum, so that you can retrain yourself in what you're doing, so that you can actually start making progress and creating momentum for yourself. But they make it permanent when it's actually only a temporary type thing. So going back to the piece of thinking about all this stuff in your head before you actually even get into it. This is one of the things that's popping up right now because I had several new clients who started here in January with me. And one of the things that they're saying right now is how much they love the simplicity of their nutrition plan, how much they're loving the food that is on the nutrition plan. But those are the very same women that were also a little bit nervous or scared about the nutrition plan and
Right.
its simplicity and whether or not, well, you're never going to fucking know until you just like do the thing.
Right.
And
Well,
if
I
you
think
get
that,
into the thing and you don't like it, you can stop the thing.
right. When I think that as I was listening to you say all that, what struck me was our brain often places a higher score on the hypothetical pain
Mm.
over the real pain, right? So we look at that pain of, oh, I got to do this, and that's way, oh man, that's going to be worse than waking up
Mm-hmm.
and feeling like shit every morning. But that's a hypothetical pain. Like you don't even know yet, but your brain is like telling you these stories and amping up this hypothetical pain. And so we give it a score of 10, and our score of climbing out of bed every day feeling like crap is given a score of 4. And so we're like, well, you know what? I'm not going to do that because this one's a lower score. When in reality, it's probably the opposite.
Well, and not to be cheesy, but it's like the real world tagline, right? Like you think you know, but
Oh,
you have
yeah, no,
no
no,
idea. But
no,
it's the truth. You
too
think
much.
you know. And
Right.
that's one of the things that I ask when my clients come into my Crown program, which is my signature program to really work with women who are over their own bullshit. They're tired of feeling the way that they do. They don't like what they see in the mirror and they're just tired of like trying to figure it out. So, what I talk to them about as they come into the program is this. I ask them to suspend the things that they think they know, regardless of whether the things that they already know are like totally true or not. I'm like, just suspend what you think you know, suspend the experience that you've had to this point, because too often we allow all of that to get in the way of something that we're doing that could provide us with a new experience, but we like sometimes don't get to really have that full experience because we color part of it with things from our past. Clearly, I see some sort of like grin behind the face. Maybe I don't,
No,
but
you don't.
you know, you can liken that to, because what was popping up into my mind is, it's something that in as part of our marriage and relationship, and you can speak to it from your end, but from my end, you are not the other guys that I have had relationships with, right?
I try
Like,
not to be.
well, I'm just saying, like you're a different person, even if
Correct.
maybe at times I see like similar traits or qualities. Like at the end of the
Right.
day, you are not them. And if I carry those experiences into our relationship, it's going to impact the way I experience our relationship. And obviously it has. I mean, this is something that, we work on
Right.
a lot. Um, but like how often is that happening for people is they don't allow themselves to walk into an experience with fresh eyes. It's challenging,
Well, and
but necessary, I think.
right. And it's one of those, you got to find the balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're right. You do need to walk into it with fresh eyes. At the same time, like there's zero benefit to forgetting the lessons of the past.
True. And I think, yes.
You
And
know
I
what I'm saying?
realize,
Like
yes.
it,
And
it I think the problem is people go to one extreme or the other,
yeah.
right? completely, all I remember is everything that's happened in the past, and this new thing is going to be exactly like that,
Right.
or everything's brand new. I don't remember anything that's ever happened before, and
Right.
so
And then
it's
therefore you're not utilizing those past experiences. Yeah. And I realize how the way I was sharing about it, it could come across that way. There is like a happy medium. And I think it's being able to bring the knowledge that you've gained over the years from your experiences in whatever area for yourself and be able to kind of live in a space of curiosity and consultation. Um, can you get curious about this new experience, right? When something pops up in the new experience, the new relationship, the new wellness program, the new job that seems to be contrary to or just a little bit different than what you've previously experienced. Because sometimes the things we've previously experienced, like it's not like it's all bad,
right. Right. Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
for
like
sure,
we,
for
we've
sure.
had shitty experiences, but we've also had good experiences that you want to like keep carrying that knowledge and whatnot with you. So can you get curious in the new experience to ask questions of like, huh, this is like this is like a different way of doing this than what we did when I was doing that. I wonder why it's different. How is it different? Maybe this could potentially be better than. So it's being able to one get curious about new ways and also be able to consult yourself in your past experiences, negative or positive, and really discern like what can be helpful from that versus what is actually hurtful and me getting the most out of this new experience I'm having.
Right. Man, you're so wise.
I mean, I've had a lot of years of not being wise to come to this
Well,
place and figure.
and that's a I don't sad truth of the human existence, right? You have to have a lot of it takes a lot of stupid shit to grow intelligence. I mean, let's be
Well, and
honest.
it makes me think about and stupid shit. You say stupid shit. A lot of people talk about it in terms of like a lot of failures, a lot of face plants. But I was on a call last night with some ladies in my other community called Queens Club, and we were talking about a client brought up the idea of like the desire to do it right, not taking action because she knew that it was going to be imperfect and she wants it to be perfect.
Right.
And so we talked about that a little bit, and it's you know failure, mess ups, mistakes, that's part of the process. And unfortunately we tend to equate failing as though like we should have made that decision in the first place, but it's all curriculum, right? It's all information that we're collecting. And yes, like no one enjoys making the quote unquote wrong decision.
Right.
But if you can step out of that for a moment and think about all the wrong decisions. Like if we sat down right now and I said, "Okay, make a list of 10 to 20 wrong decisions that you've made in your life." Like we could both do that, right? You'd probably
Oh
have
yeah,
to like
real
call
easy.
you'd have to call time because we would like be able to
Right.
continue writing. So if we made that list and you've got your 20 things, 10, 20 things written down of all the wrong decisions you've made in your life thus far, because certainly there are more to come.
Right. It ain't gonna stop.
With each one of those wrong decisions, I would bet all of our money in the bank account. Like that's how confident I am. All of our money in the bank account that for each one of those things on your list, you would be able to tell me at least one thing that you learned from each of those wrong decisions that has actually been helpful to you and benefited you as you move forward from it in your life.
Right. Well, and the
And in the
reality
moment,
is,
that's tough to see. In the
oh
moment of
yeah,
it,
for
it's
sure.
you're not
Right.
going like, oh, well, what's the lesson?
And that's and that can also be a recipe for prolonged misery, right? Because if you don't reflect on some of those things and think about it and find that lesson, then like you've gone through that and gotten no benefit out of it,
Right.
right? Because there is a lesson in each one of those. But if you don't do the reflection and thinking back on it and don't get that lesson, then all you've gotten is the pain. And what the hell's the point of that?
Agreed. And before I forget it, because this reference came up this week in something I was reading or watching or listening to, and it's so true. It's not actually that we are afraid of the failure. And I don't believe it's actually that people don't understand that the failures are helpful to us. The fear of the failure is because we know that others will be witness to it. That
Oh
is
yeah, for
actually the
sure.
problem. Because if you were on an island where literally you were the only person, like you were the only person, there was absolutely no one, no thing that could see anything that you're doing. Therefore, there's no risk of being judged. There's no risk of being mocked. There's no risk of embarrassment. There's no risk of being kicked out of the tribe. If that were the scenario, then you wouldn't give two shits about going out and looking like an idiot trying to build a boat for the first time because you've never built a boat. You wouldn't care because there would be no one there to judge you for it. And so I think that that's interesting because it's not that people don't understand that failure is part of the process. It's not that people don't understand that there is so much learning from the failures. The real root is people don't want to be judged for their lack of success when they try something, when they make a decision, when they go down a path. That's what's actually standing in the way.
Right. Yeah. That's 100% accurate.
And and that's where we have to really get honest with ourselves and really, how much of our day-to-day choices in our life are we giving away to other people? And what do you actually think about that? Because again, something else that I just shared with my clients, like we get one life. And and I constantly have to have this internal conversation with myself because I'm human. And as confident as I am in me and as much growth as I've experienced, like there's still parts of me at times in the right situations that I am concerned about what other people are going to think or
Of
what the
course.
judgment is going to
Of
be.
course.
And so it's an ongoing conversation that I have to have, but like the one that I just keep pounding the drum about to myself is we get one life, right? So like why would I continue to hold myself back from doing and trying and going for the things that I really want to in my heart of hearts out of a fear of what someone else might think about it? Yeah, there could be temporary pain and discomfort because of that, but I'm also going to experience pain and discomfort by not ever finding out, by
Right.
not pursuing the things that I am passionate about or love. And in addition to that, like we also need to remind ourselves that the people on the other side whose potential judgments we're concerned about, which some of the time they don't even judge us like we think they
Right.
will. But of those that do, we have to remember that like they have their own hurts, habits, and hangups. And and the way they're responding to us and who we are and our choices and our actions, it's really simply a reflection of the things that they're challenged with.
Right.
It actually didn't have anything to do with us whatsoever. So here
Right.
we are
Zero.
allowing other people to impact how we show up in our own life. Yet in reality, we're making decisions based on shit other people are doing and saying that at the end of the day are truly based on their own hurts, habits, and hangups. So it's
Right.
not even, it's like this crazy spin of a tornado, but that's actually what's going on. And when you can finally believe that, And like I said, I'm certainly not 100% there. But like when you can really start processing that, it's like, why do I give a fuck?
Yep.
Period.
But, you know, to your point of still processing that, right? It takes a lot of work
It does.
because it's just it's human nature, I think, to take those things into consideration, and you got to do the work on yourself internally to get to a point to gradually get to point A where you give a little bit less and point B a little bit less, and it just grows and grows over time, and you got to keep working on it.
Well, and not I think it's human nature. It is human
Well,
nature
sure.
because going back to the lizard brain, like if you made the wrong decision back in the day,
Right.
the or get kicked out of the tribe, the outcome of that is you die. Like it's death, literally, your life done.
Right.
Fortunately, that's not the outcome that we're facing 99.9% of the time.
Right.
And so it's not that risky. And so I guess I just want to encourage you listening to remind yourself that you only get one life, to understand that everyone is making the decisions based on their own life experiences and their own hurts, habits, and hangups. And none of those things have anything to do with you. And so all you can do is show up on the daily, doing your very best to honor what's right for you based upon your heart and your soul. And if you can make decisions in that regard with that understanding, I think you will gain a lot more freedom in your life right now.
Boom. I mean, that's just
Well,
stamp that mofo.
I have a gift.
Oh, you have so many gifts, a
Do you say
veritable
gift or
plethora.
gifts? Gifts, because you know I love me some gifts. It's my
That
love
you do.
language. It's my love language. All right. Well, I would actually like to finish my lunch.
Well,
Although I
that dog over my shoulder is about to start
look
yapping
at
to be
her,
let out. So
like she looks like she's gonna run up and stab you. She's like sitting back there pondering your death. Oh, I'm
yeah,
gonna sit
that's
right here. I'm gonna wait for you.
that's
It's
what
like
females do.
the scorned ex-girlfriend.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in. It's a great
Yeah.
combo
If you
today.
got value out of this, like, comment, share, all the things.
All the things. Just know that we appreciate you. And if there's anything that we can do for you, be a ear to listen, point you in the right direction, give you some tools and resources, or welcome you into our respective communities, let us know.
Where are your huckleberries?
Yes. See ya.